Thanks for tuning into the 6Three podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Joel, with co-hosts Isaiah and Ben. I'm going to finish the second half of my NFL stats that I did last week. I think I had 16 to 20 of them last week. I'll give you another 16 to 20. We'll run through fast this week. All right, starting with the NFC North, the Chicago Bears. Cordero Patterson became the fifth player in NFL history with 7,000 kick return yards and 3,000 yards from scrimmage.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Fifth in NFL history. Okay.
I mean, he's got his niche. He has his niche.
He has a place, that's for sure. That's how he's been around for 8
For sure.
years.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I mean, anytime they ever try to make him, not necessarily just the Bears, but anytime, even when he was with the Vikings and stuff, anytime they tried to make him something
Patriots.
more than what he is, the Patriots too.
Yeah.
Just let him return kicks. Just that's all he can do.
He's good at returns and he's good at jet sweeps, and that's pretty much it.
Hey, I think they did a good job and a service to him this year when Tariq Cohen got hurt, making him their number 2 running back. I think he did a pretty nice job. So
Yeah. No, he's like, he's just too much of a jack of all trades, master of none. Like he's just like, he can do some things really well, but none of them are like, he's like just not specific enough.
This one hurts a little bit for the Detroit Lions. They were one of 3 teams in NFL history to give up 30 or more touchdowns at home.
Wow.
Yeah.
So they must really need fans because they were terrible.
Yeah.
Good.
Oh, man. Moving on from that sadness, Green Bay Packers, they had more touchdown passes this year than they had punts. 48 to 46.
All right.
Wow.
And then I'll add that Mason Crosby also finished the season with 100% field goal percentage. He's only the 9th NFL player to ever do so.
How many kicks did he have?
I think he had 21. So, I mean, he didn't kick field goals very often, 21 to 21. But I wouldn't say it's still necessarily that easy in the NFL.
No, I mean, that's still – you usually miss one. You'll kick like a 58-yarder just because you have to and miss it or something. So I think that speaks to the Packers' offense too.
21 field goals isn't a lot in comparison to many other teams, but the Packers get it in the end zone when they get there. So,
right.
Yeah.
Vikings. Dalvin Cook joins 16 other players in NFL history with 1,500 yards and 16 touchdowns in a season.
Okay.
All right.
16 sounds like a lot. I wish they must have not had any real fancy ones this year. Ravens. They became the 3rd team in NFL history to boast 3 700-yard rushers. So, that offensive attack was, Lamar, probably J.K.
and Edwards.
Yeah, Gus Edwards, too. Maybe Mark Ingram might have been close.
Yeah.
I know I say it every time they're on TV, and, I think you guys both disagree with me a little. I just, they're boring to watch for me. I appreciate – I think I compared it to, Russell Westbrook. I appreciate his game. I just do not like him. I appreciate the Ravens doing creative things, but I just don't. I
don't know if boring is the right word.
That Lamar run, that first touchdown run, was nuts.
For sure.
It's hard to say that a team that puts the ball in the end zone and scores still the way they can is boring to watch because everyone likes to watch scoring.
I think so I'll agree with you. I think when they're just, handing the ball to the running back left and right, all day long, that can get boring. But, Lamar Jackson's pretty fun every single time. So if you watch him, him with the ball, it's pretty – because they had bottled him up until that point when he ran for that touchdown, that first touchdown this weekend, and then just exploded. Outran every angle. It was crazy. So I don't know. I think they're pretty fun.
Yeah.
Bengals. Joe Burrow totaled 2,688 passing yards in his first 10 games, which is a top 5 figure of all time.
It seems to be that they got their guy.
Yeah.
They just need a tackle to protect their guy now.
Or
right.
Tackle. They need everything else at this
point. They just could use a good offensive line. I think we ranked them dead last in offensive line. We knew it was going to be a rough year. That's why we probably didn't expect the success from Burrow either this year.
No.
But he didn't for what he had to work with. I think he did a nice job.
Yeah, and they have some weapons.
Yeah.
Just add a few more and obviously get him some help up front. They should be at least on the uptrend offensively.
Yeah, I think they know what they need at this point, at least. Like, I feel like for the past couple years, they were like, oh, we just need whatever we can get. But now they're like, okay, we have some offensive weapons. We have a good quarterback. We know what we need now.
Yep.
Browns. Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt became the second running back duo since 2000 to collect 1,100 yards from scrimmage and score 11 touchdowns. Only Alvin Kamara and Mark Ingram have done it in the last 20 years.
Wow.
Yep, that is a two-headed monster. That's what they say.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh Steelers. TJ Watt has now recorded at least 13 sacks in 3 of his first 4 seasons. That's joining just Reggie White and Derek Thomas, both Hall of Famers. Steelers are also the first team in NFL history to start 11-0 and finish 12-4 on the season.
Yeah, and they're still talking. They're still like talking crap on like TikTok and stuff. Like Chase Claypool's like talking crap about the Browns. I'm like, they beat you, dude. Like, come on.
That's what happens when your best players are young little kids, basically, like Claypool and Juju.
I had never really paid any attention to Claypool like talking or anything like that. That dude has a very punchable face now.
Yeah. Well, and yeah, I mean, Mike Tomlin, I've thought this for the past few years. Like, you need to get some control in your locker room, bro. Like, come on.
It obviously has to do something with Tomlin, whether he's too loose with some of these guys, because there have been behavioral issues left and right in the Pittsburgh locker room, and it doesn't seem like before they get to Pittsburgh, they really had a known locker room presence that was negative.
It's been talked about though. Like, I think it was James Harrison talked about like, all right, because remember he went from Pittsburgh, and then he went over to New England.
Patriots, yeah. Yeah,
and he was there. They were like, all right, what's the difference really? Like, Tomlin's a well-regarded like coach as far as like football itself goes. Like, you know, he's never had good teams, whatever. But he's like, I mean, Mike's a player's coach, and he just kind of lets the guys do their thing. Like, but he's like, but Belichick is, I mean, he owns you. Like, it's regimented. It's, you know, it's way different basically. And I'm like, I mean, maybe Tomlin could take some of that, maybe not all the way, because you got to be yourself, but like, you know, it's been talked about like by multiple people that like this can kind of be a problem. Like, guys kind of can run the locker room and not really, they just have issues. So,
yeah. To the NFC West, Arizona Cardinals. Kyler Murray became the second quarterback in league history to record 25 passing touchdowns and 10 rushing touchdowns. Just the second quarterback in NFL history.
Was the other one Cam?
It was Cam. Yep.
Yeah.
The Rams. Their shutdown defense ranked first in points allowed, total yards allowed, first downs allowed, passing yards allowed, passing touchdowns allowed, and net yards per pass attempt allowed. They were by far and away the number 1 defense this year, statistically.
Not what we thought would happen.
No, not at all. Although Pittsburgh finished second, we did say that Pittsburgh had one of the best defenses.
Yeah. I just thought, you know, I just didn't think the Rams were. I mean, other than obviously probably the best defensive player in football, like. I just don't see it other than that, but it worked out.
I think that has to prove that he's one of the best defensive players in football, because still most of these guys on paper, that team still is like, how are they this good? So it's got to be part defensive coordinator with, you know, Brendan Staley, defensive coordinator there, and then obviously McVay probably has a place in there, and obviously having the number 1 defensive player in the NFL, Aaron Donald, who commands 3 players every play.
When Donald was hurt on this weekend, like he got hurt and like wasn't even playing for a lot of that like second half, and like they were still just dominating. And I'm like, all right, like, because I thought when he went out, I'm like, okay, maybe the Seahawks can take advantage, maybe actually get some time to throw the ball, but no, they still were just getting smoked.
Yeah, and I don't know who is to like not blame but praise for it or what, but like they seem to just be, that defense especially seems to just give people a resurgence in their career. I mean, that Dante Fowler Jr. who like kind of found new life with them. Leonard Floyd, who is finding new life this year. Jalen Ramsey is a different situation, but like he's been able to stay one of the best man-up corners in the league this year. I mean, sometimes it depends who he's covering, but like they're able to kind of pick some of these guys. I mean, I'm not saying it's like Bill Belichick because it's different, but they're able to pick up some of these guys maybe in free agency or trades that kind of underperformed where they were and get them to overperform. So I don't know who is doing that, whether that's McVay or the defensive coordinator or whoever it might be, but it's impressive when they do that, and they've been able to do it pretty successfully and consistently.
49ers. Despite injury, George Kittle did George Kittle things. He had 48 catches, 634 yards, 2 touchdowns, and only 8 games. Most of them weren't even full games either. That's the second most receiving yards for a tight end that played a half a season in NFL history.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, he would have been probably, I don't know, Kelsey put up some stupid.
Kelsey was stupid good this year, so
Yeah.
I don't know if it would have been there.
He probably wouldn't, I mean, he'd have been, maybe not right up
he would
there.
have probably been up there with Waller, though.
Close second, yeah, because Waller was stupid good this year, too. So.
Yeah. Seahawks. Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf. They became the first Seahawk duo to post 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns apiece.
Nice.
Very good. They just need an offensive line.
True. Yeah, that was bad.
We'll
we'll talk about that soon for sure.
Yeah.
But that was interesting. Last division here then. AFC West, Denver Broncos. Brandon McManus, he tied the NFL record with 10 50-plus yard field goals in a season.
How many of those are at home?
And the mile, yeah, that does make a difference. The mile high always seems like you can kick anything there.
I feel like it gives you like an extra 5 yards.
Yeah. I mean, that's where Matt Prater hit 64, isn't it? So
that's where Janikowski did all of his stuff too.
And I'm pretty sure the Broncos used to have Jason Elam, who also hit 63 before that.
Yep.
So, yeah. The Vegas Raiders. Darren Waller became the 5th tight end in NFL history with 100 catches for 1,100 yards.
Yeah, he was
good.
5th? Yeah.
Kind of a surprise.
He's definitely put himself in some pretty rare territory for sure, being 5th in NFL history. So, Chargers. Justin Herbert broke the rookie record for passing yards in the first 10 games. He also rushed for 5 touchdowns in 228 games with the Chargers. Phillip Rivers only had 3.
Well, I mean, have you ever seen Phillip Rivers try to run? Come on.
It's hard to watch.
Yeah, I mean, in his defense, I mean, obviously now because he's super old, but you know.
I can't lie. Like, and this is no praise of me because I'm probably running slower 40s than many offensive line, but I think I could run faster than Phillip Rivers.
Phillip Rivers is not fast. Mm-hmm. He's very slow.
And the last one here.
I really want to see Big Ben, Phillip Rivers, and Tom Brady all line up.
I think Brady wins.
Maybe
Roethlisberger. I don't know.
I feel like Roethlisberger has like the momentum and the weight behind him once he gets moving. He's going to be dead last in the first 20. But
yeah. Roethlisberger could move when he first came into the league. I mean, he could really run pretty good.
Yeah, and he's always been a big quarterback, so it was actually pretty good when he was able to run early on in his career. But last one, best for last, Kansas City Chiefs. Travis Kelce became the first tight end in NFL history with 1,400 receiving yards. So, yeah, we just talked about how Kelce had a ridiculous year. First in NFL history for any tight end with 1,400-plus receiving yards.
So, how many yards in 8 games did Kittle have again?
634.
I mean, he wouldn't have been that far off.
And most of those 8, and again, in most of those
1260, yeah.
In most of those 8 games, he didn't play full games either. And like 2 or 3 of those, I think.
He's 100% healthy. I mean, he was kind of keeping pace, honestly.
Yep.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I would not be surprised. If one of those guys hit 1,500 yards in the next couple of years.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It'll be hard for Kelce to do something like this again. Not saying he can't, but they have so many weapons.
I know that's the tough thing. Yeah,
Kittle is their main weapon, and I would even say Kelce is their main weapon too. I mean, obviously Tyreek Hill's there, and other guys like Watkins and stuff like that. But Kittle is their guy, while Kelce is another guy who's also really good.
I do have another Chiefs stat here. With the Chiefs, if the Chiefs win their divisional game against the Browns, they become the first team in NFL history to host 3 straight AFC championship games. And the only team to do so in the NFC was the 2002 to 2004 Philadelphia Eagles. Both those teams were coached by Andy Reid.
I think I saw that stat last week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's probably good. They just always stumbled in, the big game.
Mm-hmm.
Super Bowl.
And then speaking of Eagles, Carson Wentz led the NFL in sacks taken this year with 50, and that was despite appearing in only 12 games and playing 72% of Philadelphia's offensive snaps. And they were supposed to have a good offensive line too, like Jason Peters and Lane Johnson and Jason Kelsey. Like those are.
I think so. So I think, I mean, some of those you're probably going to put on Wentz. Like, just get the ball out, dude.
He does have a tendency to hold the ball. He does not have happy feet, so you have that going for him.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, they struggled. They were a struggle this year.
Yeah, if you were going to create Carson Wentz in Madden, you would put his his tendency when it comes to quarterback pressure to oblivious.
Yes.
There's no idea it's there, even if it's on top.
Yeah. Doesn't know till he's dead hurt on the ground.
Yeah.
So only 13% of all drafted NFL quarterbacks since 7-round drafts exist have won a single playoff game. Only one number one overall quarterback has won a Super Bowl, and that was Eli Manning.
Wow. That's crazy, actually.
Yeah, 13% of all drafted NFL quarterbacks have won a single playoff game. That is a really small percentage.
That, and I think if you think about it, well, I mean, I guess that makes sense though, because like if you're drafted and you become a starter, typically you're the starter there for years and years and years. I mean, that's the idea.
Mm-hmm.
But if you think about it, as far as the Eli stat, like, you know, maybe that kind of shows teams like, hey, you know, drafting a QB number one, you know, we can't anoint him as the guy that's going to bring us to the Super Bowl now. Like, that isn't what's going to happen, right? It's just very, very rare, obviously. So maybe that, you know, obviously it won't, but, you know, if I'm a team, I look at it like maybe QB is like a second round pick or, you know, later in the first round type of guy, like not number one overall.
Yeah, it's definitely astounding. I got 3 more, and then we'll preview, or we can probably recap the wildcard games. Only 2 NFL teams with losing records have faced a strength of schedule below 500. It's the Cowboys and the Chargers. Only 1 team with a winning record has a strength of schedule above 500, and that was the Buffalo Bills.
Okay. All right.
Only undefeated quarterbacks with a minimum of 2 starts in the playoffs is Frank Reich, who went 2-0 in the playoffs, and Bart Starr, who went 9-0 in the Super Bowl era.
Yeah, those were good Green Bay teams.
I just like that Frank Reich is on that list.
Uh-huh.
Such specific. Oh man, because he was like pretty much career backup for the most
Career
part.
backup. He had some big moments though. He had very big moments.
I mean, I think he was the last quarterback to hand off to Barry Sanders before he retired.
I think so.
Hey.
Yeah. And then my last one here, Derrick Henry became the first running back to break 2,000 yards rushing and not have a single Pro Bowl offensive lineman.
He created a lot of those 2,000 rushing yards.
That is for sure.
And I mean, obviously, I think a big part of that too is Taylor Lewan being out.
Yep.
Like, because Taylor Lewan is the only Pro Bowl caliber offensive lineman on that line.
Yeah.
So.
Yep, I'd agree with that.
I think Quentin Spain has made one before, but not this year. He was just kind of meh.
Yeah, he's not playing like that anymore.